This is my list for the top 10 best perks in Call of Duty Zombies. Now before I get into my list, I want to let you guys know what I'm going to be basing my rankings off of. And I'm going to be ranking them based off of two main things. One, how useful is the perk? And two, how well does the perk keep me from going down? Alright, now let's get right into it. So coming in at my number 10 spot, we have Quick Revive. And Quick Revive started off as a very crappy perk in World at War. In World at War, all it did is it allowed you to revive players faster. So in solo, it literally did nothing for you because you were by yourself. There was no one to revive. So in solo, it was literally worthless to even buy it. But in Black Ops 1, they added the ability where now in solo, Quick Revive gives you an extra life. Because in World at War, when you went down in solo, it was over. The game was over. Like you had to restart if you wanted to keep playing. But in Black Ops 1, they added it to where Quick Revive gave you an extra life in solo, but you could only buy it 3 times. So basically, Quick Revive gave you 3 extra lives, but at the cost of one of your perk slots. So while you're running around and you have Quick Revive in solo, it literally does nothing for you. The only thing it does is it gets you back up when you go down. But everybody uses it. It helps you out in solo a lot because it gives you another chance to keep surviving. And that's why I think it deserves to be in the number 10 spot, because of how much it is used now that it gives you the ability to have an extra life. And that's not the only thing they added to Quick Revive over the years. In Black Ops 4, they made it to where Quick Revive allowed you to regenerate your health faster, which is actually pretty helpful, I'm not gonna lie, because there's times where I'm red screen forever and I'm like, please regenerate my health, please, 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 and I'm trying to get away from the freaking zombies, bro. But not only did they add that in Black Ops 4, but they added modifiers to every single perk, which gave the perk an extra ability. And the modifier for Quick Revive made it to where once you started regenerating your health, you would gain a sprint speed boost, which allowed you to run faster so you can get away from the zombies and avoid getting hit and downed. And it also made it to where in co-op, when you revive someone, not only do they get full health, but you also get full health and you both get a sprint speed boost. So they added a lot to it in Black Ops 4, which made it even better. But they did take away the ability where Quick Revive gives you an extra life. They instead swapped it out with a self revive, which is pretty much the same exact thing. It's just that you don't have to buy Quick Revive to now get it. You start the game with an extra life. And I don't know how many lives you get in Black Ops 4. I think you get like 2 or 3. I think it also depends on the difficulty you're playing, because if you play the realistic difficulty, which is the hardest one, when you go down, you don't get back up. That's realistic on freaking Black Ops 4. So the more recent games made the perks way more complicated, and they added so much more to the perks. In Cold War, they added even more to Quick Revive. Now let me tell you what they added in Cold War. So in Cold War, they added 2 things to Quick Revive that weren't in the previous games. One, when you're down, you crawl faster. Is pretty much what they added with the tier 1 on Quick Revive. Now tier 5 is what makes Quick Revive so good in Cold War. It pretty much is self-medication, the gobble gum from Black Ops 3, but the only difference is that you don't get to keep all your perks. Self-medication allows you to keep all your perks, but this one, you kill a zombie and you get back up. So if you're playing on co-op and your friends across the map and you're on the other side and you go down, you can kill a zombie and get back up and they won't have to come and get you. That's what makes it so freaking good. So that's why I think Quick Revive deserves the number 10 spot, is because it helps you from going down, and the fact that like pretty much 99% of the players that play solo buy Quick Revive because it gives you an extra life. And not only that, but in the future games like Black Ops 4 and Cold War, it does even more for you and it's really good. I think it deserves number 10 spot, but there's definitely a lot more perks on this list that are way better than Quick Revive. But I think it does deserve to be on the list. That's why it's at the number 10 spot. So coming in at a number 9 spot is our only Black Ops 4 perk on the list, and that is Dying Wish. Now Dying Wish, anybody that plays Black Ops 4 will tell you this is a perk that you always run pretty much every game. It is literally a lifesaver in this game, bro, and it's only been in this game. But what makes it not as good as the other perks on this list is that the cooldown time with this perk increases every time it is used. So the way this perk works, for those of you that don't know, I'll just read the freaking description that it gives on Black Ops 4. Instead of entering last stand, the player goes berserk for 9 seconds. While berserk, they are invulnerable and melee damage is greatly increased. Afterwards, the player is left with 1 health. Cooldown increases with every use. Now, if you don't understand what that that means. Pretty much, instead of going down when you reach 0 health, you become invincible for 9 seconds. And you can also do a lot of melee damage, but that's not really what makes it good. What makes it good is that you become invincible for 9 seconds, and you have 9 seconds to get out of there and survive. And with Black Ops 4, you have the special weapons. So just pull out your special weapon and just mow down the zombies, get out of the room, and you're still alive. It literally saves your life. Instead of going down, you have another chance to freaking survive. And that's what makes this perk so freaking good. It helps you from going down, and it's very useful. But the only thing that makes it not that great is the cooldown increases with every use. And that cooldown can get pretty freaking high. It sometimes takes forever for it to cool down. So pretty much the way it works is that whenever your dying wish goes off and you go invincible for 9 seconds, after those 9 seconds, you have to wait for it to cool down for you to be able to use it again. So you can't just keep using it over and over, because if that was a thing, then you would literally be invincible. You would never die. That's what makes it not as good as these other perks on the list, is because the cooldown is actually a long cooldown. Like, it will take a long time. Like, I've gone through a whole like 10 minutes before it's like freaking back to where you can use it. That's how long the cooldown gets, bro. It takes forever, but it does help you a lot. So that's why I think it deserves the number 9 spot. But there are definitely more perks on this list that are better and more worth it. Now, I also do want to mention that in Black Ops Cold War, they did pretty much add Dying Wish into Juggernog as tier 5. Tier 5 in Black Ops Cold War for Jug makes it to where instead of getting downed on a lethal hit, armor is depleted and health is reduced to 1. So pretty much what that means is that whenever a zombie hits you and you're supposed to like hit 0 health and go down, instead you have 1 health and you have one last little chance to run away and not get hit. But it's not as good as Dying Wish, because Dying Wish made you invincible for 9 seconds. This one just gives you an extra chance to run away. It's like half of Dying Wish is what it is. But I did want to mention that they pretty much tried to add Dying Wish into Jug on Cold War, and I just wanted to mention that real quick before I move on to the next perk. Now, coming in at a number 8 spot, we have Speed Cola. Now, Speed Cola, unlike Quick Revive, Speed Cola actually got worse over time. The reload speed has actually gotten way worse over time. In Black Ops, I would say Black Ops 2 and 3, that's where Speed Cola was the best. You would reload ridiculously fast and it was really good. But for some reason, they wanted to make it slower in the newer games. I guess I thought it was too fast, but I will never understand this. Why the heck are you nerfing things in zombies? Don't ever nerf things in zombies. The only reason you should ever nerf anything in zombies is if it's so overpowered that the zombies literally cannot touch you. If it's that, then nerf it. But if they can still touch you, don't nerf it, bro. The zombies can still get you if they can still touch you. That's what I think, bro. But Speed Cola used to be really good, and it's still a decent perk. It's still one of those perks that everyone grabs, especially if you're playing the older games like Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 2. You're grabbing Speed Cola most of the time. Sometimes there's other perks that can take the spot of Speed Cola that are actually better, but it does help you a lot, because there are times where you don't have Speed Cola and you're backed up against the wall and you have to reload your gun, and your reload speed is so slow that the zombie just ends up getting you. But if you would have had Speed Cola, you could have reloaded your gun real quick and took the zombie out. That's why Speed Cola is good. It helps you reload your weapons faster and get out of sticky situations. Now, there's also another ability that Speed Cola has that most people don't even notice. It's not a big deal, but it does allow you to rebuild barricades faster. And they did not introduce that in Cold War. They introduced that a long time ago. I think, because I went back and played World at War, and I think it's been there since the beginning. I was playing World at War and I was building barricades without Speed Cola. And then I bought Speed Cola and went to go build the barricades, and I was building them faster. And I thought, wait, did they have this the whole time and I just didn't notice? And they did. I went back through all the games and I checked to see if it was there, and it was actually there. I just didn't notice it when I played these games all of these years because it was so subtle. There was barely any of a difference. So yeah, Speed Cola does help you build barricades faster, but it's not really a big deal. But I did want to mention it because it is part of the perk. The main ability is reloading fast, but in Cold War, they added more to Speed Cola, just like all the other perks. So in Cold War, Speed Cola, not only does it allow you to reload faster, but it allows you to swap weapons faster, which is pretty much fast hands from multiplayer. It charges your field upgrade faster. Time Slip in Black Ops 4 helped you charge your special weapon faster, and that's pretty much what they did with Speed Cola in Cold War. They also added the Time Slip ability where the mystery box settles faster, and you can now fire and reload while sprinting at full speed. And so yeah, I think Speed Cola is a pretty good perk. Most people buy it. I think it is better in my opinion than Quick Revive and Dying Wish, but there's definitely a lot more perks on this list that are way better in my opinion. So yeah, let's move on to the next perk. So coming in at my number 7 spot, we have Deadshot Daiquiri. Now Deadshot Daiquiri started off in Call of the Dead. That's where it was first introduced. And back then, Deadshot Daiquiri was seen as one of the worst perks. Like no one would ever buy it. But over time, it has gotten better. It has gotten way better. Now I think a lot of people would say that Deadshot is one of their favorite perks. Like a lot of people like this perk. I honestly like this perk now. I used to see it as a really trash perk and it wasn't really worth buying, but now I buy it all the time. What started to make this perk really good was Infinite Warfare Zombies. Now, Infinite Warfare Zombies was when Deadshot Daiquiri became actually good, like actually really good. And that was when Infinite Warfare Zombies introduced their version of Deadshot Daiquiri, which is Deadeye Dewdrops. It basically does the same thing where when you aim down sights, you snap to the enemy's heads. But Deadeye Dewdrops does more than just that, because not only do you snap straight to their freaking head, but you now have 0 recoil. There's no recoil. So all the guns in the game are literally laser beams, bro. They don't freaking recoil at all. That's what makes it so freaking good right there. But not only that, on top of that, if you aim down sights for like a couple seconds, there's a red skull that will pop up and make a little like ding sound effect, like a little freaking sound effect that goes with it. And when it pops up, it's letting you know that the gun is doing more damage. It's almost like when you aim down sights, you're charging it up, and when that red skull pops up, it's charged up. And when that red skull pops up, it lets you know that you're going to be doing a lot more damage. So basically what it does is the longer you're aiming down sights, the more damage you're going to do. I don't know if it gets stronger over time, but I know when that red skull pops up, it's letting you know that you're going to do more damage when you fire. But what makes the perk so good, in my opinion, is the 0 recoil. Like just, you will snap straight to their head and destroy them like they're nothing. Like let me just show you footage of Deadeye Dewdrops and show you how good this freaking perk is. Watch me mow down hordes of zombies really freaking quickly with this perk. Now you see what I mean? This perk is really good now because of what they did with Deadeye Dewdrops in Infinite Warfare Zombies. Now, since Infinite Warfare Zombies did that, Black Ops 4 tried to copy them in a way with their new version of Deadshot Daiquiri called Deadshot Dealer. Now, Deadshot Dealer is literally the same thing as Deadshot Daiquiri. It still does the same thing where when you aim down sights, it snaps to the enemy's head, but it also does what Deadeye Dewdrops does, which is it reduces your hip fire spread. So when you're hip firing, there's pretty much like it's like almost on point, and then the recoil is less. So that's pretty much what it did. It's not as good as Deadeye Dewdrops. It's nowhere near as good. Deadeye Dewdrops made it to where there was no recoil, there was no hip spread, like it was a laser beam, bro. That's what Deadeye Dewdrops did. So pretty much Deadeye Dewdrops made the perk way better. And in my opinion, Deadeye Dewdrops is the best version that we've ever had of Deadshot Daiquiri. Oh yeah, and Deadshot Dealer, when you had the modifier on for it, it allowed you to gain a damage boost when on a headshot streak. But yeah, let's see what they added to Deadshot Daiquiri on Cold War. Now in Cold War, they pretty much did some of the same things that Deadeye Dewdrops did, but they added a little bit more of their own little touch to it because of Cold War's mechanics. The tier 1 says deal 100% extra critical damage if an enemy is at full health. So if the enemy is at full health, you're gonna do 100% extra headshot damage to the enemy is what's going on here. So if the enemy's at full health and you headshot them, they're gonna get a lot of freaking damage put into them, bro. That's what that does. Tier 2 increases damage against armor pieces, which it only really applies to this game because this is like the only game that added armored zombies. So that's something that only applies to Cold War. And then they added reduced hip spread, which is pretty much the same thing as Deadeye Dewdrops. And then increased critical bonus damage to 10%, which is pretty much just giving 10% extra damage to your headshots. And then this one is pretty much what Deadshot Dealer did with their modifier, which is each consecutive hit on the same enemy deals 2% more damage to a maximum of 20% damage. So for example, if I was to shoot the same enemy consecutively without missing any of my shots, I would end up doing a lot more damage. It's almost like they added a little hint of double tap inside of their Deadshot Daiquiri. Now, I will say that Cold War's Deadshot Daiquiri is way better than any of the previous Deadshot daiquiris. It's actually pretty freaking good. I would say it's almost on par with Deadeye Dewdrops, but I honestly think that Deadeye Dewdrops is better than Deadshot daiquiri, even the Cold War one, because of that freaking zero recoil and that zero hipfire. It just makes Deadeye Dewdrops so freaking good. But yeah, that's why I think Deadeye Dewdrops and Deadshot daiquiri deserve the number 7 spot, because of literally how good it is now. Like literally, it makes your guns so much more powerful after what they did with it in Cold War and what they did with it with Deadeye Dewdrops. And that's why I think it deserves the number 7 spot. It is pretty freaking good. Now coming in at our number 6 spot, we have Stamina Up. Now Stamina Up is a pretty freaking good perk in my opinion, especially in Cold War. In Cold War, Stamina Up becomes one of the best perks ever, bro. But back then, all it did was it increased your sprint speed and it made it to where you had a longer stamina, so your character wouldn't get tired as fast, so you can keep running for longer. But in the newer games, they made Stamina Up way better, and that's why it's right here in the number 6 spot, pretty much halfway through the list, is because of the new stuff they added to it in the newer games. Now in Black Ops 4, they made it to where it pretty much did the same thing right here as you're seeing, but what it also did is if you had the modifier, it made it to where your character would never get tired. You can keep running and running and running and your character would never get tired. That's what it did in Black Ops 4 for the modifier, and it made you really fast at running. But in Cold War, it got freaking ridiculously good, mainly when they added tiers 4 and 5 to the perks. That's when Stamina Up really got good in Cold War. Now in Cold War, they added tier 1, increase backpedal speed. Now what that is, I didn't understand it at first, but what that is when you're walking backwards, you now walk backwards faster, and that helps so much because there's a lot of times where you're walking backwards in zombies because you have to turn around and shoot the zombies that are running towards you and keep walking backwards to get away from them. So that helps a lot. That's a really good tier 1 for a perk in Cold War. Now they added another tier, which is pretty much a part of what PhD Flopper did, which is you now take no fall damage. If you ever fall from a far height, you don't take any fall damage. You can just jump off of whatever it is and you won't take any fall damage. If you wanted to, you could go into Outbreak and get on top of the freaking giant thing on that one map. I don't know what it is, but it's a giant like scaffolding looking area, and you can get on top of that and just jump off and hit the ground and you would not die. That's how good it is. Now tier 3 made it where you walk faster while aiming down sights, so it's pretty much almost like a stock for your gun, because that's what the stock does. So that helps you a little bit. It actually is pretty useful because there's a lot of times where you're aiming down sights shooting zombies and you need to move, so that does help a lot. And then you can use equipment while sprinting, so you can pull out a monkey bomb and crank it up and throw it while you're sprinting, and that helps so much. And not just the monkey bomb, but everything else, grenades, tactical grenades, everything, you can throw it while you're sprinting. And then this one is what made it really good, and it's the same thing that they did in Black Ops 4 with the modifier, and what it does is it removes the sprint speed fall off. So pretty much you run extremely fast and you never get tired and you never get slower. So what would usually happen is you would gradually get slower as you're running, and then eventually you would get tired and you couldn't run anymore and you have to wait to get your stamina back up. Your stamina back up, not stamina up. It's hard to say them differently, all right? Stamina up. But yeah, now this one makes it to where you literally just keep running as long as you want, fast as boy, and you never get tired and you just run extremely fast, bro. It like in Cold War, you run super fast. It's ridiculous. Like, let me show you how fast you run in Cold War. Watch me, bro. I'm zoom in, bro. Watch this. I'm gonna show you a clip real quick. And that right there is why this perk deserves the number 6 spot. And even though this perk is really good because of what they did with it in Cold War, there is still 5 more perks on this list that are better than Stamina Up. Stamina Up, it's one of those perks, like, this is what I say. If you're gonna be camping, buy Speed Cola. If you're gonna be training, buy Stamina Up. That's the way it works, bro. All right, let's move on to our number 5 spot. So yeah, coming in at our number 5 spot, we have PhD Flopper / Slider. Now I put both of them together because they're pretty much the same perk. It's just that one of them is flopping and and one of them is sliding. And they had to do that because dolphin diving is not a thing anymore in Call of Duty. Now it's sliding. But yeah, PhD is the number 5 spot. PhD was first introduced in Ascension, and it quickly became one of the best perks. The reason why is because of the main ability that PhD gives you, which is 0 explosive damage. So that now makes all explosive weapons viable. So before PhD was ever a thing, we would all stay away from explosive weapons because we didn't want to blow ourselves up. So once PhD came to the game, all those explosive weapons are now viable because now you can use them without having to worry about blowing yourself up. But PhD doesn't just do that. PhD doesn't just give you 0 explosive damage, but it also gives you immunity to fall damage. So if you were to jump off a high place, you wouldn't take any damage. And then it also gives you the flop. So on Black Ops 1, where PhD was introduced, whenever you would dolphin dive off of a high surface, when you hit the ground, you would make an explosion and all the zombies in your vicinity would blow up and die. It was pretty freaking useful, and it actually lasted for a while. It did a lot of damage. So like, I don't know when it would stop killing them. I'm pretty sure it would last somewhere between 20 to 30. Somewhere in there, I think, is when it would fall off, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm probably completely wrong. Let me know down in the comments if I am, but I do know that the flop was pretty freaking deadly. It would kill the zombies, bro. It was powerful enough to where you could train up a whole horde of zombies and then flop on them and they would just all die. So pretty much PhD is not just a perk, it's a weapon, bro. It is a weapon. You could use it to kill zombies. And that's why it's so freaking good, in my opinion, because not only do you not take any explosive damage and not take any fall damage, but now you have a weapon that can kill zombies, not just one zombie, but like a whole horde. That's why it's so freaking good. And it also made the ray gun viable. That's one of the main things. The ray gun and the Mustang and Sally, just go pack a punch starting pistol and now you can just blow zombies up forever and take no explosive damage from it. And then the ray gun, instead of downing yourself with the splash damage, you can just shoot it as close to yourself as you want to. It don't matter how close the zombies are to you, just shoot them and you won't take any splash damage from the ray gun. It made the ray gun way better, is what PhD did. Now in Black Ops 4, that's when PhD changed from PhD flopper to PhD slider. PhD was so good that the devs literally stopped putting it in the game for a very long time because they thought it was too OP. I'm pretty sure it's what they thought. I don't know if that's official from them, but I'm pretty sure they stopped adding it into the game because I thought it was so OP. PhD was first introduced in Ascension, and then it was in Call of the Dead, it was in Shangri-La, and it was in Moon. But in Black Ops 2, it took it out of the game. But they did have it in the form of a perma-perk on Buried. I don't know if the perma-perk was on any of the other maps, but I do know it was on Buried. And they had it only on 2 maps. They had it on Mob of the Dead, but they didn't have it on the regular Mob of the Dead. They had it on Mob of the Dead Grief. That's where they had it. And then they had it on Origins and the Wonder Fizz. If you're a hardcore Zombies fan, you will know that they freaking teased us. On Die Rise, when you're going down the elevator, for a split second, there's a hallway that you can look down, and at the end of the hallway is the PhD flopper machine. But you can't get it. You can't get to it at all. And then on Mob of the Dead, if you go to the docks and look outside of the map and look across to the docks that you can't get to, they literally have PhD flopper in a freaking boat, I'm pretty sure, and it's just sitting there, but you can't get to it. They also have Mule Kick in that boat too. They didn't let you have Mule Kick on Mob of the Dead either. But yeah, my point is that PhD flopper was so good that they took it out of the game, and they knew we wanted it back because they teased us. And then they finally brought it back in Origins and Mob of the Dead Grief, but Mob of the Dead Grief isn't an actual map, it's a game mode within a map. And then in Black Ops 3, they changed it from being a perk into a gobblegum. Now in Black Ops 3, they have a gobblegum that allows you to take 0 explosive damage. And then they have one called Slaughter Slide, which is pretty much the first version of PhD Slider. But yeah, they didn't add an actual PhD Slider perk until Black Ops 4. Now PhD Slider is literally the same thing as PhD Flopper, except instead of having the Flopper ability, you have the Slider ability. You still have the 0 explosive damage and 0 fall damage, but you now also have the Slider ability. Now BO4's PhD Slider is not that great when it comes to the Slider ability. It's decent, but it's not that great. Now the way that BO4's PhD Slider works is once you buy the perk, you obviously get the 0 explosive damage and the 0 fall damage, but the Slider ability, you have to slide to charge it up. And once it's fully charged, when you slide into a horde of zombies, or it doesn't have to be a horde, it could just be one single zombie, it will blow them up and kill them like the Flopper does on PhD Flopper. What makes it not that good is the fact that you have to charge it up to do that. If you were able to do that constantly without having to charge it up, it'd be really good. Having to charge it up makes it not that great. But the 0 explosive damage and the 0 fall damage are still pretty freaking good. They're the same thing as PhD Flopper. And on Black Ops 4, I have to say this because Black Ops 4 has a weapon called the Helion Salvo. It's a rocket launcher. Every zombies game has a rocket launcher in the mystery box. And usually the rocket launcher isn't that great, but the Helion Salvo is literally so good. It is pretty much better than all the wonder weapons in the game. Well, not all of them, but it's pretty much its own one weapon. It will blow up zombies on any round. Just boom, they're gone. With the PhD slider perk, it makes it amazing. Literally the strategy on any Black Ops 4 map is to sit in a corner with the Helion Salvo fully pack-punched and have PhD slider and just sit there and just blow the zombies up constantly, and you will survive. You will survive. The only thing that can kill you is you running out of ammo and the zombies getting too close, but you could use other perks like Dying Wish and Stone Cold Stronghold and whatever else they have on that game to help you freaking survive and get to really high rounds. But yeah, I had to mention the Helion Salvo in Black Ops 4. That shit is amazing, bro. But moving on to Cold War's version of PhD slider now. Cold War's PhD slider, in my opinion, is the best version of PhD that we have ever had. It is amazing. PhD slider does so many different things. So obviously you have 0 explosive damage, but it doesn't give you 0 fall damage because Stamina Up does that already. So why would you even add that in if Stamina Up already does that in Cold War? But 0 explosive damage is really good. But what it does is when you slide, you create an explosion and it kills zombies. And it's not like BO4's PhD slider. No, Cold War's, no matter how many times you slide, it goes off every single time. There is no cooldown. There is no having to charge it up. It just goes off every time you slide. And it actually kills zombies and it's pretty good. But it's not just that. When you upgrade the tiers in this shit, it makes it really good. Like, let me just read off the tiers. Tier 1, immunity to environmental damage while sliding. Now, I don't really know what that means, but okay, that's cool. Tier 2, increased slide duration. So when you're sliding, you slide really far now. You don't just slide a little bit, you go really far, and it makes you so fast. Like, you can slide ridiculously far. And then tier 3, immunity to self-inflicted explosive damage, which is basically 0 explosive damage. Tier 4, increased slide speed. So now you're sliding really fast and you're sliding really far. And then tier 5 is a little added bonus that makes it really good, in my opinion. So falling from a large height will trigger an explosion. The size and damage increases the higher you fall. So let's say you just want to jump off a building. Well, you jump off that building, when you hit the ground, you're gonna make a big explosion, and all zombies that are around you when you hit the ground are gonna die. So you don't have to slide to trigger an explosion. You could just jump off of something high and trigger an explosion just by jumping and hitting the ground, bro. It's freaking good. I love this perk on Cold War. It's freaking amazing. That is why I think PhD deserves the number 5 spot, because it just does so much. The 0 explosive damage in itself makes it really good. You want to play with an explosive weapon like the Mustang and Sally? Buy PhD and you're good. Like, it deserves the number 5 spot, but yes, there are 4 more perks that are better than this in my opinion. So yeah, let's move on to the next perk in this list. Now, coming in at a number 4 spot, we have one of my favorite perks. I love this perk, bro. It is so good, but they only ever had it on one map, and that is Vulture Raid. Vulture Raid is an amazing perk. It does 3 things. Well, actually it does 4 things, I think. 1, when you're killing zombies, they can drop money, like little money pouches on the ground, and when you pick them up, they give you little bits of points. They drop a lot of little pouches as you're killing them, so it's gonna add up to a lot of points. So pretty much the perk gives you extra points as you're killing the zombies. And not only that, but the second thing it does is that they also can drop little bits of ammo on the floor, like just extra bullets that you can just pick up. So the perk gives you free money and free ammo. That is amazing. It's helping you from running out of ammo, and it also helps you gain points to buy more perks and more guns and pack-a-punch and everything else that you need to buy. And then the third thing that it does is, it's not really a big thing, but it does do this, so I have to mention it. All the wall buys and perk machines and the mystery box and the pack-a-punch, you can now see them through the wall. So if you're ever wondering where a perk is, just run around the map until you see it through the wall and just go to it. So basically it helps casuals or people that don't know the map find stuff around the map. That's what it does. It lets you see it through the wall. And it's useful. It's not a big deal, but it is useful, and it helps the casual players or people that just don't know the map learn the map and learn where everything is at. And then the fourth thing, and I think this is the best thing about the perk, this is what makes the perk so freaking good, is sometimes when you kill zombies, they'll drop a little thing of fog, and it's like little green fog, and when you stand in it, it's basically zombie blood from Origins. It makes it to where all the zombies don't see you and they run away from you, and they just sit there, and like if you're playing co-op, all the zombies will run to all the other players, and it gives you time to reload and heal. And if you're playing solo and you step in the green fog, they'll run away from you. Like they'll all just go to like random spots that are nearby and just stand there, and while you're sitting in the Vulture green fog thing, you can just shoot the zombies and they can't do anything about it. It makes it just really freaking good. And there's actually a strategy, if you don't know what the strategy is yet, with the freaking paralyzer, where you sit on top of a little roof next to the bank, and you can just sit there and use the paralyzer to kill the zombies, and then jump in the freaking green fog to let your freaking paralyzer charge back up, and then keep killing the zombies. It pretty much makes you invincible, but it's still hard to survive even with that. You still have to know how to do it. Trust me, I've tried it, and it makes you really OP, but once you get to like round 50 or 60, it starts getting a little freaking hectic, and you have to really time it right or the zombies are going to corner you. It gives you free ammo, it gives you free money, and it gives you free zombie bloods. That's what it does. And it also lets you see everything through the freaking wall. Now that I'm thinking about it, if they ever were to bring this perk back, one thing that they could add to it is they could add the depth perception ability where you can see the zombies through the wall. That'd be cool. This perk was only in one map, and that is Buried, and it never returned. And even though it never returned, it still deserves that number 4 spot on the list because it is that good in my opinion. It deserves that recognition, bro. I feel like there's a lot of people in the zombies community that don't even know what Vulture is because they never played Buried. Like, bro, Vulture is so good. Please, Treyarch, bring it back at some point. Bring it back. I hope your next game, Treyarch, is really good. I have hopes for it, but bro, we don't know what's gonna be like. But Kevin Drew is supposed to be the lead director, and he's apparently really good at what he does, and I hope he is. Let's hope this next game is good. Let's hope, bro. But yeah, there are still 3 more perks in this list that I think are better than Vulture. They are, in my opinion, the top 3 perks. People always buy them, and they're amazing. Let's get right to them. Now, coming in at my number 3 spot is Double Tap 2.0. Let me make that very clear. Not the first Double Tap that we got back in World at War. Double Tap 2.0. Double Tap 2.0 made the perk way better. The first Double Tap, all it did was it doubled your fire rate. But the second Double Tap, not only did it double your fire rate, but it doubled your damage. So pretty much, it literally is a cheaper version of Pack-a-Punch. That's what it is. You're buying a perk for 2,000 points, and it doubles your fire rate, and it doubles your damage. What does Pack-a-Punch do? It makes your gun do a lot more damage. And ever since Double Tap 2 came out, everybody's been using it. Double Tap 2 makes it to where your guns last longer before they start doing shit, and it makes your guns really powerful. Like, when I go down and I lose Double Tap 2 and I start trying to shoot the zombies with my gun, I notice a significant difference, and my gun is just not killing the zombies as fast as it was before. Double Tap 2 is just a really good perk, bro. Everybody buys it all the time. It makes your gun stronger. It makes your gun shoot faster, and that's exactly what zombies is. You're shooting zombies, you're killing zombies, you're trying to get through the rounds. Want to get through the rounds faster? Buy Double Tap. The fact that it makes killing zombies a lot easier helps you stay alive, and it's just really useful. I don't know what else to say about Double Tap 2 because it really only does 2 things. It gives you double the damage and double the fire rate, and it's just a really good perk. If it wasn't for Double Tap 2, Double Tap would not be on this list at all, but Double Tap 2 exists, so here we go. Double Tap 2 is in my number 3 spot. Now let's move on to number 2. Okay, so coming in at my number 2 spot is a perk that I think everyone watching this video expected to see at some point, because it is a perk that everyone, literally everyone, uses. In my opinion, it is the most iconic perk in Call of Duty Zombies. It literally is an icon in the gaming industry, bro. Like, literally. And I bet most people watching this video expected to see this perk in the number 1 spot, but nope, there is a perk that I think is better than this one. And without further ado, coming in at the number 2 spot is Juggernog. It is a perk that everyone uses. It's so simple, but it's so good. It literally helps you survive longer. It helps you from going down. Without it, it's really hard to survive. But it is possible to survive without it, but it's really hard to. And it does something so simple. All Jug does is it adds 2 hits to your health. That's literally it. Unless you're talking about Cold War, there's more to it in Cold War, obviously, but we'll get to that in a bit. In World at War, without Jug, you were a 2-hit and then you went down. And with Jug, you were a 4-hit down. I know there was some glitches with Jug in World at War where you could get like crazy good Jug where you could have like 20 something hits or something like that before you went down. But what it's supposed to do is give you 2 extra hits. So in total, you would have 4 hits before you went down. And then in Black Ops 3, well actually no, in Advanced Warfare and Exo Zombies, Jug actually added a lot more health. Like you could get hit a lot in Exo Zombies before you went down. But talking about Treyarch Zombies, it wasn't until Black Ops 3 where they made it to where when you started the game, you were a 3-hit down instead of a 2-hit down. Jug still only adds 2 extra hits, but now you can have up to 5 hits instead of just 4. Because when you start the game, you're a 3-hit down. But yeah, Jug is just good at keeping you alive. It's very useful. That's why it deserves the number 2 spot. Everyone buys it every game. It helps you survive. It keeps you from going down. There's times when you're just running through the freaking map and you get double hit by a zombie and you go down. If you had Jug, you would have survived. Extra health. Who wouldn't want that in zombies? Now in Black Ops Cold War, Jug got even better. Now in Cold War, there's 2 of the tiers on Jug that really only apply to Cold War, which is the 2 tiers about armor. But tiers 1 and 5, I think could apply to any game. Tier 3 is pretty much just giving you more health just like Jug does in the other games. But tier 1 and tier 5 actually do something a little different. Tier 1 reduces status effect durations by 50%, and what status effect durations are is, let's say you get hit by a zombie and you get red screen, basically making that go away faster so it doesn't freaking blind you. Or let's say a grenade goes off and it hits you and you get stunned and your screen is all shaky or whatever, it reduces that too. So like if your screen ever gets affected by anything, whether it's getting hit by a zombie or whatever, it basically goes away faster, which could actually be helpful. But tier 5, we already talked about it earlier in the video, it's pretty much Dying Wish, but not all of Dying Wish. It's Dying Wish, but if you were to take out the invincibility thing and the extra melee damage thing, that's literally what it is. Tier 5 literally makes it to where when you are supposed to go down, it gives you another chance to get away, is what it does. So when you get hit by a zombie and you're supposed to go down, instead of going down, it'll put you at 1 health, giving you another chance to get away, which could be actually really helpful. But that's all it really did in Cold War. I wanted to mention it because it's still part of the perk. Now coming in at our number 1 spot, it is in my opinion the best perk we've ever had, and it's only been in 1 game, and I bet you already know what I'm talking about. It is Widow's Wine. Widow's Wine is an amazing perk. In my opinion, if you wanted to, you could buy Widow's Wine and not buy Jug, and you would be fine as long as you're good at the game. If you're good at not getting hit by the zombies, Widow's Wine is amazing. I didn't realize how good this perk was until not too long ago. I was trying to record a video where I went through every single map without buying Jug. I was doing the no Jug challenge, and when I got to Black Ops 3 and I went through all those maps, I was using Widow's Wine on literally every map that it was on, and I was surviving for a long time without Jug because Widow's Wine was saving my ass. If you know how to use the perk, it's amazing. You have to know how to use it though, because if you don't know how to use it, you're gonna waste all of your spider grenades and it's not gonna do anything for you. What you want to do is every time one of your spider grenades goes off, try to get some more back. So like let's say you're running through the map and you get hit by a zombie and your Widow's Wine grenade goes off. Try to kill the zombie that just hit you, because they may drop one of those spider power-ups that give you another spider grenade, because that's how you get them. Whenever zombies get ensnared by the spider webs, you have to kill the zombies that are ensnared, and they have a chance to drop you a spider drop that gives you a spider grenade. And it's very frequent, so there's a good chance it's gonna drop it for you. But if you're going for high rounds, just train up a horde of zombies and let one of them hit you, or you don't even have to let them hit you. You could just throw a grenade in the horde. When it goes off, kill them all and you'll get your grenades back for sure. There's no way you're not gonna get your grenades back. That's how frequently they drop from the spiderweb zombies. And pretty much this perk almost makes you untouchable. If you're ever getting in a sticky situation where you're about to get cornered, one of those zombies hits you, the spiderwebs go off, all the zombies slow down and they're all ensnared, and you can just start mowing them down. That's how good it is, bro. It is amazing perk, and it's only been in Black Ops 3. We've never seen seen it returned. And there's a reason why this perk is 4,000 points. It's because it's worth the price. It is amazing, bro. Treyarch, please add it to another game. Add it to your next game. It is an amazing perk, bro. I truly believe it deserves the #1 spot. Like literally, without Jug, all I had was Widow's Wine, Stamina Up, Quick Revive, and Speed Cola, I believe. I don't have the footage because I deleted it, I'm pretty sure. But I made it to like round, I think it was like round 42 or 44 on Nocturne Totem on Black Ops 3. I was training in the box room with the Thunder Gun, and I had Widow's Wine, Speed Cola, Stamina Up, and Quick Revive, and I survived for 44 rounds without Jug. That's how good Widow's Wine is. If I didn't have Widow's Wine, I would have died a long time ago. But nope, Widow's Wine saved me. That's how good that perk is, bro. It's amazing. And I bet the reason why they haven't brought it back is because it was so good. Just like they did with freaking PhD. But who knows? Maybe they'll bring it back in the next game. Who knows? But yeah, Widow's Wine is the best perk in Call of Duty Zombies, in my opinion. It is the best perk. If it's on the map, I'm buying it. That's how good it is. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I recommend you subscribe because I will be making a lot of Call of Duty Zombies videos just like this one. I really want to become a Zombies YouTuber, bro. I've played zombies my whole life almost. But yeah, I will see you guys all next time.